Commissioner Barb Lewis, and today is our meeting date of May 21st, 2026, and with us also today is our County Administrator, Tracy Davies, and Don Houston, our Deputy Administrator, and I don't see Eric in the hall, and of course our clerks today. Let's begin.
Did you want to do the pledge?
Good point. I have asked a couple of people be speaking later in the program to lead us in the pledge today, a couple of young men from Liberty High School, so I'd ask Ben and Chase to come forward and lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll be hearing more from Ben and Chase later in the program today. With that, let's begin.
Resolution number 26-355, in the matter of approving electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held May 18th, 2026.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 26-355. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
And Mr. Benton is absent this morning. We do not have any public comment. That brings us to item number 3, resolution number 26-356. In the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0520, memo transfers in batch number MT APR 0520, and procurement card payments in batch number PC APR 0520.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 26-356. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We're going to go to item number 5 right now and come back to item number 4. Resolution number 26-357, in the matter of proclaiming the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Delaware County.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fishel, Director of EMS for Delaware County, and behind me, some other members of Delaware County EMS. And I would like to speak a little bit about the team today, and also this week is EMS week. I was thinking about it on the way into work, and usually I have something prepared to speak on, but I had a conversation with one of our captains a couple months ago, and it's a conversation that stuck with me, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. We often discuss significant medical emergencies here and the positive outcomes and how important those are and how we've given time back to people and how we've saved lives. And those are incredible stories, and they deserve their day here to recognize the individual and to recognize the patient. But one thing that I don't think I've ever spoke about in front of you, and I don't know if we really talk about it much, is the everyday things that go unnoticed. And so one word stuck out to me, and that was dignity, and the dignity that we give to patients. And so I want to tell a story about one of our crews, Medic 2, and the BSTNG Fire Department. And it's a specific story, but it has to do with many calls that we go on. They ran a call on a elderly lady. She had fallen, I believe she broke her hip and was unable to move, and she was in her bathroom. And because she was in her bathroom, she was attempting to use the bathroom. She was not able to move, not able to get up, and she ended up going to the bathroom on herself. So when the crew showed up, this was not your typical emergency at this point, but we had a lady on the ground in pain. She was not in much pain. She was able to move around and stuff. There was concern for the hip, obviously. But what they found was a lady who was unable to care for herself, and they did not want to bring her out of her house, out into public in that state. So what they did was they helped give this lady a bath. They cleaned her up of her own feces. The fire department took the materials that were used and cleaned up her bathroom for her and threw it all in the trash. And they ended up transporting, calmly, a patient to the hospital that was cleaned, dressed, and extremely appreciative that they gave her back her dignity, because she did not want to leave the house, and the crews weren't going to let her leave the house in that state. And those sort of things happen all the time, and we don't talk about it a lot. It's just not as, it's just not a conversation piece typically, but it's extremely important. Dignity, compassion, empathy. Our crews deliver that day in and day out to people, and we get letters in the mail from patients who express their gratitude. And so I wanted to touch on that today in session. We will continue to honor when we've saved a life or given somebody back time with their family, but in the background, I also want to point out what the crews do to give people back their dignity and provide empathy and compassion for people. They have huge hearts, and they truly put themselves in the patient's shoes and how would I want to be treated? Or if this was my mother or my grandmother, how would I want them to be treated? So that's what I wanted to talk about today at session. I usually talk about other things, but that one was weighing heavy on me today because the conversation with Captain Jude James stuck with me, and I felt like it needed to be addressed. So thank you to everybody behind me for what you do. Thank you for the unseen things that you do for patients, the compassion that you show them, cleaning up after them, making them meals, advocating for them. That is very important. That's all I have.
I have nothing prepared either, but I am always impressed and proud of EMS in our county, the county EMS, and all the other agencies that provide EMS services. We are very, very fortunate, and I think you make an excellent point on the dignity part of it, but also the fact that it saves lives is important as well, and it's all goes on what makes us a great county to be living in and be taken care of by each one of you in this room and the ones that are present today. I am highly appreciative. I've had occasion in my house to have used the services of EMS in our county, and it's something I think we all take for granted until we need it, and then it becomes a priority. I'm going to ask Commissioner Lewis to speak, and if there's anyone else who would like to speak today, before I read the proclamation that we're going to vote on, feel free to come forward. Commissioner Lewis.
Gee, what a moving story. But then, like you say, something that you do so routinely because of the people that you are, the emotional intelligence, the caring, and always thinking about how can I help this person. And that's something that really can't be taught or learned. It's innate. It's within a person. And the people who we have serving on our EMS are those kind of people, and exactly the people that you want at your front door when an emergency arises. So I thank you very much for all you do day in and day out, and the unspoken from even people who you help who aren't able to thank you. But we thank you, and you have received many awards, and I'm certain you're going to receive many more, and very, very well deserved. But thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Chief, is there anyone else that wants to speak?
Commissioners, Jeremy Miller, Assistant Chief, Delaware County EMS. The thing about EMS is nobody does it alone. Everybody has to do it. And another part that I'd like to kind of share with EMS is the background, is the teamwork, and that includes you guys supporting us and making sure that we're well equipped and we have everything. We're celebrating this week. We're opening our new station on Saturday, Station 11 with BSTNG, and we're really, really excited that we're going to be closer to where a lot of the action is. We're going to be closer to 71 so that all the wrecks can be there. But EMS in itself, you can be the best paramedic that the world has ever seen. It doesn't matter unless you have a good team. And I believe that our team is the best that we can assemble. I think that all the background stuff that we do to prepare to make sure that we have the right person at the right time so that our team can grow is really something special, and that's why we are where we are today. But again, the team just doesn't stop with the EMT and the paramedic and even the medical director. It comes back to your support. We consider you guys part of our team, and we can't be where we are without your support. So thank you for that. The guys back here, they probably won't stand up to talk because it's not in a EMS provider's nature to stand up and talk, but trust me, the amount of lives that this crew specifically has saved and the things that they do go well beyond quantifiable measures of what they can do. And Chief talked about, very briefly, I think in EMS we don't get the credit that we deserve when we talk about the time we give back to the patient. So sometimes we'll get on scene and we'll understand that we're down to the last minutes or hours or maybe potentially days left to live with these for this patient. What we focus on is to give them that time that they can say goodbye to their kids or they can say goodbye to their mom and they can bring people in. And that's not focused in. A lot of times we like to look at outcomes of did the patient live, did the patient die, but a lot of times we're like, we just need to get them to the hospital as fast as possible and deliver the best medicine that we can give them so that they can have a couple days to say goodbye to their extended family that may not live in the area. So that's a really important part for me as I'm a member of this team, and I'm greatly appreciative to everybody that rides on these buses. And thank you again.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
I'm going to read the proclamation, then we'll vote on it. And then, Chief, I'd like for you to stick around, maybe update us on Station 11.
Sure.
Would you do that?
Yep.
Anything else you want to add before I read the proclamation? Okay. Okay, this is the proclamation we'll be voting on after I conclude the reading. Whereas emergency medical services personnel provide a vital public service because timely access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the members of EMS teams engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their skills and are dedicated to providing life-saving care to individuals in need, often under challenging circumstances. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of EMS providers through the annual observance of Emergency Medical Services Week during the third week of May. And whereas the national theme of this year's observance, Improving Outcomes Together, provides an opportunity to recognize and honor the contributions of EMS personnel and the vital role they play in our society while embodying Delaware County EMS guiding principles of commitment to community. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Delaware County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Delaware County. And further be it resolved that the board extends its gratitude to all EMS personnel for their unwavering commitment to public service and acknowledgement the sacrifices made by EMS personnel and their families who support them in their challenging and demanding roles. The board further encourages our community to express its appreciation for EMS personnel during EMS Week and throughout the year, and directs that a copy of this resolution be presented to Delaware County EMS as a token of the board's gratitude for the invaluable services provided by EMS personnel. Signed by Commissioner Jeff Benton, Commissioner Barb Lewis, and Commissioner Gary Merrill. With that, I call for the vote.
Vote on motion 26-357. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. And we also like to get a photo of everybody involved. Everybody come forward. And amen.
Commissioner, you asked for an update on Station 11. Very happy to say that starting this Saturday, we will begin running calls out of Station 11. And thanks to the support of the commissioners, we put on Medic 11 in 2019, I believe. If not, it was the beginning of 2020. And at that time, we put on Medic 11 and we doubled them up with Medic 2 and Station 2. So we've had a pretty cramped Station 2 for this amount of time. And quickly, Medic 11 has become one of our busiest ambulances in the system.
Could you elaborate on where Station 11 is located for all those who
Right.
don't know where Station
Right.
11 is?
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
Station 2 is in Sunbury. Station 11 is off of Wilson Road in Berkshire Township, right on 71.
Right on.
My apologies. And so roughly a year and a half ago, we broke ground on Station 11, and it's a joint station with the BST&G Fire Department. Chief Kovac deserves a massive amount of credit on this. He has been the lead. He's been at that station every single day trying to bring this process forward. It hasn't been without some hiccups, but he has charged forward on it and resolved them. So at this time, Station 11 is ready for us to begin running calls out of it. It's still in the punch list phase, and we will be scheduling and holding a ribbon cutting once it's 100% complete. But this will better serve the fast-growing area along the 71 corridor. We have a large amount of calls in that area, and at this time, we're responding from our station in Sunbury, by the post office in Sunbury. So it will be staffed 24/7 with a crew of 3. And it'll also be one of our FTO stations, given that it's one of our busier stations. That's where new people will train and get experience. And we are very happy and grateful for the collaboration with the fire department there.
And for those who may not know, the location of it, a landmark that everybody will recognize, Camping World. It's adjacent to Camping World, if you give you some idea where the location will be.
Hard to miss that flag. So, which I learned, 80 pounds is how much that flag weighed, because our honor guard helped with it, so yes.
I just want to thank Chief Kovacs too for all his work. I know you recognized him before, and he has really done a great job. He just does a great job, period. Great guy, great to work with, and
Yes.
I know he's worked very hard on this.
So I also want to recognize Assistant Chief Miller. He's been heavily involved in the process as well. Justin Lowry, our logistics coordinator, who's off on FMLA right now, but he's been heavily involved. Captain Jude James, who oversees our facilities, has been heavily involved. There's been a team on our end as well. Obviously, Eric Hochstetler helping with the agreement process on that. There's been a team on our end that's been very, very helpful, and I'm greatly appreciative of them. And we're very excited to move forward and start running calls out of this station and better serving that area.
Yeah, one more step in what's a growing county and our efforts to serve the county, and service, as you indicated, will start Saturday out of that location. So thank you very much, and appreciate it very much, and thank everyone here from EMS for all you do. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, for item number 4, we have some guests with us this morning from Olentangy Local School District, some students with some awards that they've won. We're going to show both videos. I think I have Chase's video up first. So I don't know if the boys want to talk together first or just.
Well, I'm calling both up to the podium, and but before I do that, I'll give a little background. I have been privileged over the last number of years to be at the events where Ben has been recognized for his work in this effort, national contest. I think it was 4,000 this year, I believe, around 4,000 participants. And in past years, I'm not sure of the number, but he's been the winner more than once. And I've been privileged to be at those events where he's been recognized in the school. Liberty Middle School and high school just a few weeks ago. And Chase is a first-time winner, and it's kind of unique and special that I thought it was 3,000, somewhere I read 4,000, but 4,000 people participating nationwide in C-SPAN's efforts to acknowledge young people in this particular environment. That not only did we have the first place winner in our state, not only did we have the first place winner in our county and second place winner in our county, I might add, they both come from the same school, Liberty High School. So out of all the people in the country, we had number 1 and number 2 out of Liberty High School, which is pretty special, pretty neat. And with that, I'm going to invite Ben and Chase to the podium, and I'll let them make any comments they'd like to make, and then we're going to listen to videos. So step up here, make whatever comments you'd like to make, and then I think Chase's video will be first, and we'll follow that with Ben's.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for having both Chase and me here. Before we kind of watch our films, I wanted to give a quick overview of the competition itself. Student Kim is C-SPAN's national documentary competition, now in its 22nd year, where students research an issue and then produce an original 6-minute short film about it. So this year alone, as Commissioner Merrill said, 4,000 students from 38 states and DC submitted entries, and C-SPAN awarded 150 prizes totaling $100,000. That's a lot of numbers, but personally, I've been submitting films to Student Cam every year for 4 years, and every single time I fall in love with the process all over again. It really never feels like work. But I do have kind of a bit of a full circle moment to share. Back in 7th grade, when I submitted my first film, Losing a Generation, Commissioner Merrill came to Liberty Middle School, as he said, to congratulate me. I don't think I fully really understood what it meant to have someone from the county show up like that. Honestly, I was probably excited to get someone's business card for the first time. But fast forward to today, and out of those 150 prizes nationwide, we're both from Delaware County, and I'm really proud to say that. A bit about my film, or actually, Chase, what do you want to talk about your film since we're showing it first?
No.
Okay, I'll get then. A Right to Health, which is my film this year, explores whether healthcare should be understood as a fundamental American right. So after seeing the persistent yet preventable suffering that occurs in our healthcare system, stories like David Bell, who was denied care 3 times during the pandemic, and the millions of uninsured Americans who still struggle to receive care, I kind of wanted to explore potential solutions here in the state of Ohio. So over the course of 2 months, my dad over there and I kind of hit the road interviewing Harvard and Yale professors, as well as Ohio's Director of Health, Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff. This year, I'm honored to have received first prize in the high school central division, earning $3,000 along with the fan favorite prize, which was won via a public vote among the top 21 entries. I don't want to spoil the video a little bit, but I will say that I kind of talk about, emphasizing the community's benefit in realizing a right to health, and I think it's really important to recognize teams like Delaware County's EMS team because they're critical in this kind of approach to achieving that right to health.
Before you walk away, in total, how much have you won over these 4 years?
Let's do some math real quick. So $3,500 the first year, 2,000 the second year, so 5,500, 8,500, and the ones you had the third year, and then this last one, that's another 3,500.
So 11.5?
Yeah, 11.5. Yeah.
So very, very good, very, very impressive. Now let's give Chase the opportunity to talk, and then we'll listen to the videos. And a proud father back here on the second row. So.
All right, first of all, I want to give a thank you to Ben, because I had the privilege of going to his ceremony that you attended in 7th grade, and that really inspired me to kind of start doing this, and I would not know about this competition without Ben, so I just want to give a thank you to him first. But about my documentary, which is called Against the Silence, I took the historical route of this year's theme, where I discussed the Declaration of Independence's influence on the Vietnam War protests after Nixon's Cambodian incursion. I touched on the Kent State shooting in 1970, and I even went down to Kent State to film some of my shots. I chose this topic because, for one, my grandpa served in the Vietnam War, and the main focal point of this topic, which was Kent State, was something that happened right here in Ohio. I also touched on the importance of making your voice heard when you may not agree with your government. I interviewed 3 college professors from OU and OSU, along with my veteran grandpa, which you'll see in the video. And when I went down to Kent State, I had the privilege of talking to one of the wounded survivors of the Kent State shooting, Tom Grace. I won second prize in the high school central division, earning $1,500, and I won the behind-the-scenes photo competition, which gave me an extra $100.
Congratulations to both of you. I've been so impressed, and I'm so privileged to attend these ceremonies that Ben's been involved in. And this year, the addition of Chase, that was quite impressive that we have two people from the same high school successfully competing across this great country. And with that, we're going to listen to videos. Commissioner Lewis, let's listen to videos.
Yeah,
and
go
you may
ahead,
have
yeah,
comments.
yes.
So Jennifer, turn it over to you. And I believe Chase is first.
Tonight, American and South Vietnamese units will attack the headquarters for the entire communist military operation in South Vietnam.
Despite Nixon's promise to end the war, he authorized about 30,000 U.S. troops to enter Cambodia, aiming to disrupt enemy logistics and staging areas that are being used to attack U.S. and South Vietnamese forces.
What's important to understand about America at the time was a lot of quote-unquote like traditional American values and practices were starting to change.
War assembled in the nation's capital for
Vietnam was a divisive war. It had been a conflict that divided the American people.
There were two main perspectives on this decision. On one hand, you had the people who supported Nixon.
An operation to disrupt these enemy supply routes along the Ho Chi Minh Trail while destroying logistical caches inside of Laos.
While on the other, people strongly disliked how Nixon was handling such a large decision.
There is widespread anger and frustration because Nixon appears to be contradicting his campaign promise to bring the Vietnam War to a conclusion.
Nobody likes war, okay, no matter what it is. I was glad to see it winding down in the 70s. There was some animosity about young men going back into Vietnam to fight that war.
Shortly following Nixon's announcement, the side that was against his decision took over across the country, and the anti-war movement as a whole only grew stronger. This was a moment where frustration with the government became impossible to ignore, even as many feared protests would lead to chaos and violence.
I wanted the war to end, okay, because it was just, I saw what was going on there firsthand, and you wanted it to end.
Dissatisfaction in the government had not been something new. During this period, a little under 200 years ago, colonists were upset with how the government was treating them, ultimately declaring independence.
And you really see a similarity to this in a lot of ways with what's happening during the Vietnam War protests, is that you have these members of society that have these grievances, and they don't feel that they're being listened to.
That's what our founding fathers were talking about doing, was finding a way to represent ourselves democratically, and we're not doing it right now, I don't think.
On the days following April 30th, students at Kent State held rallies and demonstrations. They held sit-ins and symbolic funerals. Some even buried a copy of the Constitution because they felt their government was ignoring their voice.
From some people's views, here finally was a kind of surge of protest against what seemed to be a kind of reversal of the policy of disengagement. For others, it seemed to be another instance of protests getting out of hand and leading to violent confrontation and, in some cases, casualties.
The governor of Ohio, James Rhodes, decides to send the National Guard to Kent in order to keep order. They arrive on campus to discover that student demonstrators have also burned to the ground the ROTC building at Kent State. The point here is that everything is in place for a confrontation which arrives on May 4th.
Right here, National Guardsmen were about 500 feet away from the rally. They then confronted the crowd. Tensions escalated, and then the shots rang out. 4 students were killed, 9 others wounded. The youngest victim was just 19. The students had not started a fight. They were standing for freedom, for accountability, and the right to question authority. In that moment, the ideas written 2 centuries earlier, life, liberty, and the courage to speak truth to power, were tested
in the most tragic way.
Any student, a college student, should not deserve to die because of a protest.
This was just one example of these anti-war movements turning violent, but after the tragedy at Kent State, there's a national movement, mostly on college campuses, in direct response to what happened. One of these was at Jackson State.
What happened again is that you had protests against the war. Again, you have the relatively unprovoked and indiscriminate use of gunfire. And again, you have students tragically killed.
Approximately 1 to 2 million students and supporters took to the streets because they were frustrated with how the government was treating ordinary citizens by both sending more to Vietnam and killing them, simply mirroring what the revolutionaries did in 1776 and what is expressed directly in the Declaration of Independence, which were complaints on how the government was treating them. Universities like Kent State, Jackson State, Ohio State, UC Berkeley, and Columbia were continuing America's 250-year tradition dating back to 1776 of challenging authority when it failed to meet the people's expectations.
They wanted the Nixon administration to accelerate troop withdrawal, just simply end the war.
They had a purpose. They wanted freedom, and they fought for that freedom.
You could define the pursuit of happiness as the right to not have to serve in a war that you strongly oppose and that you believe is immoral.
And if the people believe that something is unjust or unfair, that the government is beholden to the people and so has a duty to respond to that.
How many more American men have to be heaped upon that funeral pyre of war to disprove a theory or a doctrine of military action that has been proven wrong each time that it's been acted upon?
The lasting effect of the Declaration of Independence and the protests following Nixon's Cambodian incursion showed that freedom demands we challenge those in power and question authority when it is needed most.
Okay, there's the second place winner, Chase Peterson's. And now we'll hear from Ben Kearns. While we're going through that, you're both sophomores, correct? So you guys are going to have an opportunity to do this again next year, right?
The United States is often described as a global leader. Just last year, we spent $997 billion on defense, more than the next 9 countries combined. We lead the world in scientific research, producing more Nobel Prize-winning work than any other country. And with a GDP surpassing $30 trillion, the United States commands the largest economy on planet Earth. Yet last year, 25 million Americans went without health insurance. 41% of adults had medical debt, and roughly 2/3 of US bankruptcies were caused by medical ills. The reality is, this isn't a new problem.
The Declaration of Independence is an incredibly important and profound philosophical text. When it says that, all men are created equal, they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They're not offering a complete list of basic rights. They didn't at the time have an understanding of the kind of institutional scale that healthcare has now reached that was not imaginable to them, but there certainly was an invitation to people to think about what do count as basic rights.
No, people don't have that right today. Case of David Bell, who died of COVID pneumonia, and he actually expired in the parking lot of a satellite hospital of Barnes Jewish. No investigation as far as I'm aware. Again, He was refused admission to the hospital 3 times.
America's modern attempt to expand healthcare access was the Affordable Care Act.
After all the votes have been tallied, health insurance reform becomes law in the United States of America.
Passed in 2010, the ACA expanded coverage through Medicaid and private insurance marketplaces, while banning discrimination based on pre-existing conditions. But expanding coverage didn't guarantee care, and for millions of Americans, access remained uncertain.
Because the Unaffordable Care Act has been a disaster.
Obamacare did not do what was promised. Everybody can acknowledge that. As I mentioned, premiums are up 60% since it became law in 2010.
Just because you have Obamacare doesn't mean you have access to care.
Partisan politics aside, the Affordable Care Act revealed something deeper. Legislation alone can only go so far in a system shaped by structural limits. It's clear the change needs to come from somewhere else. First, if healthcare only begins after someone gets sick, the system has already failed. In fact, the best interventions often happen earlier.
But somewhat controversial idea that let's provide access to clean syringes to people who are injecting drugs so that they don't get HIV. Policymakers were also worried some people may start using drugs. The percentage of HIV/AIDS among people who have now increased access to clean syringes went down by 33%, and there was no increase in drug use.
Second, for millions of Americans, healthcare is often just too far away.
Pretty much anything that can be done in a brick and mortar office can be done on our mobile unit. Somebody does have a place to go in 15 minutes. They don't have to go 1 hour to see a healthcare provider.
Third, illness begins in people's lives long before they enter a hospital. The best healthcare system sees the patient as a person.
It's easy to say, you're on your own, that's your problem. But illnesses have social and natural and self-caused components. Then we have to say that society bears a good bit of responsibility.
It's more of the, let's help them find housing, let's help them secure transportation so that the anxiety decreases and we're not over-diagnosing or over-medicating.
Fourth, health systems improve when they know what they're producing. Targeting just a few critical outcomes can improve the health of entire communities.
So if we look at cancer rates, we look at heart disease, we look at stroke, we even look at a whole variety of other conditions. If we do a better job, we see the outcomes of all those conditions later in life dramatically better.
And finally, healthcare only works when patients trust the people giving it.
It's okay to use medical language so that patients understand the diagnosis, but you should also use language where they can understand what that means. Just really getting to know people, meeting them where they're at, and seeing what it is that they actually need.
Giving them that time, but to see you as someone who actually cares about their health, their family situation, and their outcomes.
Of course, none of these changes happen individually, but they depend on everyone to build a better healthcare system. As the United States approaches its 250th anniversary, it's unlikely we'll declare a constitutional right to health, at least not on paper. But history reminds us that rights in this country are never delivered all at once. The right to health must be realized through physicians, hospitals, social workers, mobile clinics, public health officials, academicians, and critically, the community. Founders never intended for the Declaration of Independence to be merely an ask of government. It called upon the citizens, such that when the status quo threatens life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness, we ought to respond. Because every grave here marks a life that was once walking through a door. And the measure of our nation, 250 years in, is whether fewer people have to walk through that door at all.
Do you have any more comments you'd like to make? I'm going to give Commissioner Lewis an opportunity to comment here. Go ahead, Commissioner Lewis.
I'd like to ask each of you what your plans are for the future. Yeah, if you could just, yeah.
Both of you, come up.
Yes, both, please.
Personally, I want to enter the field of medicine, but also kind of combine that with public administration as well. Kind of figuring out exactly what that is. I'm in the stages of that. But I do definitely want to continue creating films, making videos. I think it's genuinely such a great medium for communicating ideas.
Right. What year are you now?
I'm a sophomore in high
Sophomore, okay.
And as for me, I want to go into filmmaking. Not more so like the documentary filmmaking that's here. I do love this stuff, but as for a future career, I want to like make a movie in the future.
Okay.
I'm working on something that I'm going to be making this summer, and this is really only just like the first step to it to get my work kind of noticed, have people recognize me for what I've done, and get funding to kind of afford some of the stuff I might need for the future. So yeah, I want to go into filmmaking.
I thought you're very much, focused on the next steps, and those steps will be very powerful, and boy, what can I say? I mean, the videos, wow, speak for themselves. They're just excellent, and your focus is oh my gosh, so far ahead. Personally, and as far as our nation and community, and I just congratulate both of you very much. Are you a sophomore then too? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much for taking the time and coming in. And
Thanks for having us.
yeah, boy, you'll have to keep in touch.
Well,
so
I'm
we know.
assuming I'll be there next year for the next
Hopefully,
victory,
Right.
And I want to thank your dad. I assume
Yes.
he made sure you guys got here today. So thank you. And I know you're a very proud father. And I'm very proud that you represent our county and our country, and you did a great job. And let's get a photo.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to get a photo.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, my gosh. Jeez. Amazing. Thanks, Dad.
Okay, let's continue.
All right, item number 6, resolution number 26-358, in the matter of approving the Alpha Group of Delaware payment of capital repairs to 1000 Alpha Drive from the capital accounts established in the lease agreement for said property.
So moved.
Second, discussion.
Hi, I'm Liz Owens, the CEO of the Alpha Group. Thank you very much for considering our request for improvements and repairs as presented to you, and I'm just here to answer any questions for you.
I have no questions. You have any questions?
Not specifically on that, but I guess we could pass.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and pass it, and then I do have a question.
Go ahead and vote.
Vote on motion 26-358. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Could you just tell us what's new at the Alpha Group and what's going on?
We moved our new social enterprise, the Venable by Alpha, out to its new location at Delaware Square, so that is doing really well. We're serving many more individuals through programming, and we have a lot of support from the community, as well as giving them back some good products at a reasonable price. So that's been great. And just continuing to expand our services and our reach out to schools and getting young people involved in our services earlier on.
Oh, that's great. You do a terrific job. Thank you, Liz.
Well, thank
really
you for your
appreciate
support. I
it.
appreciate it.
I have yet to get over there to your new location, but I have great intentions. I'll get over there sooner or later, I think.
Please do, because you never know what you're going to find.
Huh?
A lot of great deals over there.
You should bring your wife.
Huh?
Bring
Well, I will. I'll
your
bring
whole
you.
family.
Yes.
You should bring your whole family.
She's extended, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
Cool.
We
Okay,
already voted. Yep.
So, thank you very much. Thank you.
Resolution number 26-359, in the matter of approving the first addendum to the agreement between the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and Prime Care Medical Incorporated to add inmate mental health services.
So moved.
Second.
Good morning, Mikkel Roy, Finance Director, Delaware County Sheriff's Office. This addendum would allow additional medical or mental health services to our medical agreement that we currently have with Prime Care Medical that went into effect April 1st of this year. I will let these two speak if they have anything additional they want to add regarding this.
Okay.
Nick Caravan, Jail Administrator for the Sheriff's Office. We've been having services provided by Mary Haven, who has closed their satellite offices here in the Delaware area over the past couple of years, or actually past, I think, 15 years. We've had an agreement with funding through the board. Recently with their closure and just trying to provide a lot of those services. Things have kind of changed in the landscape of what we're trying to provide to the inmates at the jail, and what was kind of available for the last several years. We've kind of been operating with our past two agreements as almost supplementing with a lot of telehealth services when there's been gaps in coverage. We're looking at things from a broader perspective with the new agreement that it's actually a little bit more cost beneficial for us to do it this way, where we're going to take on some of the sole responsibilities through our medical contractor is to provide these services, and that's kind of where we're at with this agreement now. It hasn't been coming in with Prime Care earlier this year, and how they do things with billing and everything. This really isn't much of a budget impact. We were kind of already prepared to take on this role, so it's not anything where additional funding is required based on the budget that the Sheriff's Office has had. It's just giving us a little bit more control to be able to manage the mental health services that are essential to our operations. I think Director.
You, okay.
Yeah, no. Well, and you do have excellent mental health services through Stepping Up and the other programs that Cassie is running, and so you do a great job. But it's always, yeah, it's good to move ahead on any gaps that you might see, or
yeah. And we believe this will help us allow some of the board funding that is still available to us through now Southeast Healthcare to be able to focus a little bit more on that programming aspect, where we can do, there's front end and back end mental health care in the jail. So the front end is where the inmates are coming in and triaging them, trying to get them cleared up, stabilized, and on the right path. And then the back end is more of that counseling and follow-up and more one-on-one treatment. But we can't do one without the other, so that's kind of how the situation is expanded. Really, for us to support those things that Cassie does for us.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yep. Call for vote.
Vote on motion 26-359. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
That brings us to Administrator.
Well, I'm going
Oh.
thank you. Jane Hawes, I asked her to start on the program to update us on the web changes that we were.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of colored on the side before the meeting started.
Yep. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. Just a quick update. The deadline that we were facing on the ADA compliance for our website and other digital assets, which had been April 24th of 2026, a week before that deadline, the deadline was extended a year to April 27th, 2027 for jurisdictions of our size, which is 50,000 or more. Jurisdictions that are smaller than that, 999, basically have 2 years now to meet the deadline for compliance. This does not negate the fact that basically the requirements of the American with Disabilities Act are in effect, but the likelihood of being sued or complaints being filed are not as great until this deadline occurs. That is the recommendation. I will say we're getting our money's worth from membership in the National Association of Counties. They really led the charge on getting this deadline extended. About a week after that decision, the announcement from the DOJ, they held a webinar, which I watched, and their attorneys have advised that there may be more tweaks, basically, to what is enforced in the future. Essentially, what they're arguing and finding is that the law has not kept up with the technology, so that a lot of the initial requirements may be too onerous, maybe a bit much. So it's sort of a standby and see what happens. Fortunately, we're among jurisdictions that were prepared for the first deadline, and we've just sort of slowed down the final implementation of everything, which will be the training that we're going to provide to our people going forward. But if we did the final testing today, we would be issued the certificate that proves that we're fundamentally in compliance. So I do feel confident in that regard. And a lot of credit does go, Ron Clayton has continued through a lot of difficulty with his own personal situation and health to help us managing the project throughout this last year. So I'm greatly in his debt that he was able to do that for us. So I don't know if you have any questions with this.
I know thank you. You've worked really hard on this too.
Yeah.
trying to follow exactly what we are required to do. But it sounds as though it was a wise decision though to wait and give people more time. And the thing is, we do have some resources here that especially the smaller counties, don't have. So I'm sure this has come up in discussion with the state.
Well, I think what was
meetings.
surprised is how few people really knew about it until I think you brought it to our attention.
Yeah, I don't
6
know
months
how
ago.
so many people would have missed it, but it's been out there. But yeah.
But, and then, of course, we went through the exercise and we reevaluated the expenditures, and I think we ended up with a win-win that got us where we needed to be. Ahead of schedule, apparently, since we got this extension, but I think we kind of predicted it could be an extension because there was a lot of confusion.
Well, we were hoping, but to come down to a week before the deadline was a bit much, yeah.
So I thank you for all you've done on the project, and everyone else has been involved in it. I just thought it'd be appropriate to get an update since we're past the deadline.
No, good idea.
Yeah,
Thank
initial
you.
deadline.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Okay. Tracy?
Nothing today, thank you. I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Lewis?
I don't have anything either.
Well, I have one thing.
Okay.
This weekend is, a lot of people look at Memorial Day as
that's
the
your Memorial Day.
kind of unofficial beginning of the summer, but it's something we should all remember. This is an opportunity that we should all take to remember those who died in the service of our country. And that's easy to forget. We think about the holiday, we think about the cookouts, what we're going to be involved in, but that's something we should remember. And I did a little research, not make this real short, but first national observance began May 30th, 1868 as Decoration Day, and it was for the honoring Union soldiers. And it extended after the World Wars, turned into remembrance for all those in service of our country. And on May 1971, official holiday, Memorial Day, was put in. It was enacted, and it's last Monday of May every year. So all I would hope encourage everyone to remember this. It's a holiday to enjoy, but it's also a day to remember. And I hope everybody will keep that in mind as we celebrate this weekend.
No, that's well said. Well said.
Okay. With that, there's no other business to bring